We have no idea why we are.
Yeah. It's AM 06. Listen.
Gentrification is people losing their homes to make way for usually big business or something that involves money pretty much, and I see a lot of that taking place throughout the community that I grew up in, which is South Seattle. I feel that gentrification changes communities, and it changes like the attitudes that people that have lived there for a long time, it changes their attitudes toward the community.
I feel like gentrification in South Seattle particularly has changed the feel of the neighborhood. Like, whereas before I would see lots of people of color, you know, and just like more variety, I've been seeing a lot more like of the same kinds of people. Is one of those things that are like slowly creeping on. Like, it's happening slowly enough that people won't really like bat an eye to it. But at the same time, like within our lifetimes, we've seen the community change so much, and like the whole like scape of like South Seattle is quickly changing. Like, oftentimes you hear a perception that South Seattle is kind of sketchy, or like it's kind of like an odd neighborhood, or, you know, kind of like dangerous in some ways, and that is quickly changing, oddly enough. As for my family, like I used to have a lot of my family members live around me. You know, they live very close to my grandma, but you know, they got pushed out too. So like now all my family is moving, you know, to Quilla, whereas like I could have used to be able to walk over and like say hello to my cousins or my aunts. Like, that's not a thing anymore. Like, I can't do that.
I lived on Othello for a while, and I saw the light rail was like one of the first instances of change being brought to the community, and I saw like friends of mine were losing their homes in order to have a train built, and like I knew like it was good. I had heard that, you know, transportation was necessary for the city, but I thought it was already good, and to hear that people were like about to lose their home to make way for it didn't feel right. Now on top of the train, you have like apartments and condos that none of the original people who lived in the area can afford, you know. So we have a lot of people who never lived here, just moving down here, you know, and like it's affected me personally because you know, these things that they're building can't, you know, I can't afford to live there. Can't my parents can't afford to live there, you know. My friends and their people can't afford to live in those spots that's charging $2,000 and $3,000 for rent, and that's just on an apartment too. Man, that's absurd. So that's part of why I've had to do so much moving.
So I think one of the biggest things that people can do in our community is become more involved, especially like people of color. Like, as I've been growing up and seeing all these things, I've become more like interested in being involved in my community, whereas before I wouldn't be so interested in it. For example, like there was like a small coffee shop that opened up near my neighborhood, and like I made it a point to be like, you know, this neighborhood's really changing, and like I want to be a part of it. And through that, I learned about all the different community events that happen that are not really like outreach towards people of color. It's mainly just the same people that are moving in. They're into that, but they're not really including the people that live here. So part of the solution I see the whole gentrification problem is basically like reach out more to people of color and be more inclusive in these activities that, you know, seem pretty exclusive. So yeah, and especially for people of color in the neighborhood that feel strongly about like what's happening, like it's very important for them as well to be a part of the solution and not just necessarily like ignore it or just let things happen or lose hope, because, you know, as soon as you do that, then there's just, you know, you're almost a part of the problem as well.
At first, like I was really angry about it, but you know, like you make peace with things, and just seeing that people are talking about it and realizing it is just it's a step forward. So not angry no more, but I'm glad to see this conversation being brought up and working towards a solution to do something about it.
I said it always goes down when it's family. It ain't nothing but that good old vibe when I'm around the family. It ain't nothing but that soul food when I'm around the family. It ain't nothing but that one love when I'm around the family. It always goes down when it's family. I said it always goes down when it's family.